All right, let's see what the headlines are right now. We'll begin with the first news. First news says May 29, which is the focus here, litigations won't stop Tinubu's inauguration. That's the federal government saying this. Litigations won't stop Tinubu's inauguration. That's the federal government saying this. And it's talking about the May 29 presidential inauguration. As Transition Council wants unauthorized persons to stay clear of Eagle Square during a swearing-in ceremony. The government released a 8-day event that will, see to all of the activities of the inauguration. Now, from there, let's go to the Leadership newspaper. Leadership says no litigation can stop Tinubu's inauguration, the federal government declares. No litigation can stop Tinubu's inauguration, the federal government declares. The CSOs finger foreign bodies in plot to stop President-elect Tinubu Shetima to get GCFR and GCON honors. Okay, that's what you see on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. From there, let's go to This Nigeria. This Nigeria says nothing will stop inauguration of President-elect. That's the federal government is saying this as PEPC adjourns Atiku's petition against Tinubu till today. Okay, well, that's what This Nigeria says. The Punch newspaper is next. Tinubu's inauguration programs begin Thursday. Federal government invites over 65 world leaders. Okay, and to stay away from inauguration venue if you don't have business there. Secretary to the government of the Federation is saying this. Buhari hands over transition documents to incoming president Thursday. Okay, that's what the Punch has. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust says ahead inauguration, Naira falls to 760 Naira to a dollar. Okay, ahead inauguration, Naira falls to 760 to a dollar. National Assembly leadership contenders woo lawmakers with foreign currency. All right, and demand went up this week. BDC operators are saying this. All right, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Now let's go to The Nation. The Nation is saying National Assembly is the focus here. He says governors will back Akpabio Abbas, says Sule. Right? Governors will back Akpabio Abbas, says Sule. That's what it's talking about, the leadership of the 10th National Assembly. That's what The Nation newspaper has. Ibrahim.
Yes, I've got some blueprint here. There's criminal headline saying Matawale under probe for 70 billion naira fraud. That's according to the EFCC. And the writers read, loans diverted through phantom contracts for 100 million naira traced to BDC and Zamfara government mom. Matawale under probe for 70 billion naira fraud. That's according to the EFCC. Next is Daily Independent. I'm back as national chairman. No more faction in Labour Party. That's according to the factional chairman, as been described, Bure, who has been facing a lot of infightings within the Labour Party. And back as national chairman, no more faction in Labour Party. It remains to be seen how that would definitely go. And Nigerian News Direct is next. Dangote refinery inauguration. That's the kicker, and the headline reads, NNPC vows to supply 300,000 barrels per day of crude oil. Dangote refinery inauguration, NNPC vows to supply 300,000 barrels per day of crude oil. Next is Business Day. More women clinch seats at Nigeria's most valuable firms. More women clinch seats at Nigeria's most valuable firms. That's a good news there. Last but not the least is the Nature News. Federal government, Niger Basin Authority partner on climate change adaptation fund, environmental services. Federal government, Niger Basin Authority partner on climate change adaptation fund, environmental services. That's according to the Nature News. Mike.
All right. Let's look at this the story that is making most of the headlines this morning. It's here on Punch, it's here on This Nigeria, on Leadership, and the First News.
It's screaming on every page.
We're screaming everywhere. Ah! But the issue there is, now, the issue of the inauguration, a lot of persons still feel that the inauguration shouldn't go on because there are issues in court. And since it is being challenged, the inauguration shouldn't go on. Some persons have called for the tribunal to try to round off or round up, whichever one, it should try to round up and wind down on the final judgment regarding the inauguration so that it can be determined who should be sworn in as the case may be. That is on too. Now, we also hear reports of some people who are working, doing everything to scuttle the day, create some kind of embarrassment by a, massive protest and all of that. We've heard of all of those things. But others are saying, well, it's just an issue of ignorance. If anyone in the 21st century feels that, we have to stop the inauguration because the case is being challenged in court. Even if the case is being challenged in court and the court comes out in favor of whoever is challenging it, it doesn't mean the inauguration shouldn't go on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even one of the vice presidential candidates who was also saying that, or who is standing on his, firm photo that the inauguration mustn't go on. Tinubu should not be sworn in. He also enjoyed the fact that he was there for almost a year before another person came over to reclaim its mandate. And that's not even alluded to. Just like you said, some people who are planning to scuttle the inauguration, it's been described by the coordinator, Ali M. Ali, saying that many insidious plots by some foreign agents provocateurs working in cahoots with local collaborators masquerading as civil society groups and others to instigate large-scale political uprising in Nigeria. And you'll be wondering, what is the fuss about? There has to be someone who will pilot the affairs of this country. We can't be in a banana republic. We can't go back to the dark ages where life is brutish, because if there is no captain, if there is no leader, then the country, even there is leader, and we are not even sure of the direction yet. Fine, they said there has been a direction, and the next administration is meant to also build on the existing achievements they've actually made. So if you now be asking you're asking the question that why is there so much hatred for the APC or the president-elect himself?
Well, the point there is, when it comes to the issues of people's choices, people have the right to make their choices. You have the right not to like this person or his programs or his political party. You have the right to prefer this one over the other one. But there are rules that are set. That rule is what is being followed. Now, some persons have said, no, the rule was not properly followed, and they're challenging it, which is also their right. In fact, by challenging it, helps to even contribute to entrenching the democracy that we're talking about. However, you have gone to court to say, I am challenging a process. Allow the court to come out with whatever the finding is based on evidence that you have put forth. The courts are a collection or a collective of learned people who understand the workings of the entire system. So the point there is, put in your evidence and put in all your papers and documents, and the court will handle the rest. So when you want to, resort to self-help by, oh no, we would not allow the inauguration to hold. No, I think it has to do with those who don't understand how the system works, and then they may be, people like that may be the ones who are standing on the side of, standing against the inauguration, because the inauguration has to. Recall that we have about 8 states that have off-season election.
Correct.
We have Kogi State, we have Imo State,
Bayelsa.
Anambra State, Bayelsa, Edo State, Osun, and Ekiti, and Ondo State. These 8 states have off-season election. Why did they have off-season election? Because a governor was sworn in, and there was a challenger that, no, this election, I don't believe that this person is the one who won. They tendered their evidence. Eventually, it came out true that it wasn't the way it has been. And the courts upturned that election, inaugurated another person. And because the law has said that your tenure, whoever is being sworn in will be sworn in for a period of 4 years, of course, they needed to have a fresh, a fresh administration from the day they were sworn in.
Absolutely.
So from then on, it became, they had the off-season election,
right,
which means that it is possible that a court can overturn an election based on evidence that, okay, there are irregularities. But if there is none, then the administration has to continue.
Absolutely.
We have seen the litigation. In 2003, there was presidential litigation. 2007, there was. 2011, there was. 2015, 2019. So it's not an exception, right? So that's what everyone is saying. So we'll wait to see how these things will pan out eventually.
I'm not sure. Okay.
But the issue there is ultimately the inauguration has to hold.
Absolutely. I'm not sure whether you saw, because there was a time on Twitter Space I bumped into some of these conversations they have. Someone from the diaspora was saying that it has to be that day when the inauguration is going on, that they have to, maybe someone should send area bombardments to the Eagle Square and all of that. How is that going to be possible? Because the security architecture in Nigeria is not something that you can wish away. Nigeria is not a baby country. Yeah. It's a giant of Africa, it's so described. Even though the inauguration committee, you want to say something?
No. We're trying to wind down now because we don't have all the time. But anyway, let's leave it here now. A lot of people need to understand more how the systems work, so they don't postulate based on emotions and sentiments. All right.